common way of trying to find vulnerabilities, and that is sexual, financial, any other kinds of greed, and it was done a lot. It was being done a lot. And in some cases, certain people from Pentagon would send a list of individuals with access to sensitive data, whether weapons technology or nuclear technology, and this information would include all their sexual preference, how much they owed on their homes, if they have gambling issues, and the State Department, high-level State Department person would provide it to these foreign operatives, and those foreign operatives then would go and hook those Pentagon people, whether they were at RAND or some other Air Force base, and then the hooking period would take sometimes 6 months, sometimes 1 year. They would ask for a small favor, but eventually, after they would do the target, the U.S. person, some small favors, then they would go blackmail, and then that person would give them everything. Nuclear-related information, weapons-related information, it always worked for them. So it was not always money.
If you know, what was it that these Turkish entities wanted from this congresswoman?
I know for sure that Armenian genocide was one, but also where she came from, that city, the district where she came from, is where certain Turkish operatives, lobby groups run illegal businesses for fundraising for themselves to generate money. And for laundering that money, they needed her influence in that city she is from, and also her husband, because her husband was also involved at some high-level position of an elected person with where she came from. And they had another representative who was making it possible, but supposedly she, at that point, was an obstacle. That's all I know.
In your experience, I mean, was this hooking technique used with other members of Congress by Turkish entities?
Well, when I worked for the FBI, I worked on operations that were not only current, but a specific period of 1996 till 2001 December, 2002 January. So there were a lot of things that a certain field office had provided me to go over, and some of that I didn't complete. But one example would be with regard to Mr. Hastert. For example, he used a townhouse that was not his residence, and for certain not very morally accepted activities. Now, whether that was being used as blackmail, I don't know. But the fact that foreign entities knew about this, in fact, they sometimes participated in some of those not maybe morally well activities in that particular townhouse that was supposed to be an office, not a house, residence, at certain hours, certain days, evenings of the week. So I can't say if that was used as blackmail or not, but certain activities, they were shared, they were known.
With respect to the congresswoman who they were, you don't know what happened ultimately because you left, right? Or you
Correct.
were terminated.
Correct.
But with respect to that congresswoman, you said one of the things that they wanted was, you said, Armenian genocide. I assume you were referring to the fact they wanted her support to
Yes.
oppose the Armenian genocide resolution.
Yes. And she was not leaning that way during that stage until this hooking started.
And does it surprise you that they would go to those lengths to gain her opposition to such a resolution?
Not at all.
Well, why not?
I don't know what their reason is that they are going to this extent. I mean, they may have, I can only guess what their reasons are, but they would do anything. It's a very important issue, and whether it's money, whether it's sexual blackmail, anything they would do to not let this happen or get the support so it wouldn't happen.
Are you aware of, other than the people that we've talked about, and I want to come back to Roy Blunt, in a minute. But aside from the people we've talked about, are you aware of other current sitting members of Congress who you believe have been given money by the Turkish lobby, Turkish government, to oppose the Armenian genocide?
Objection, speculation.
You can answer.
The pictures are there, and I just talked about the congressional woman with the question mark because I don't know whether she complied with their, but those are it. Everything that those people are all there at that website, the pictures.
Well, why is, just before I leave this subject, in your, when we talk about the Armenian genocide, can you just describe what your understanding of that is?
In terms of historically?
Historically, what it is.
It's the genocide that was committed in Turkey against Armenians, and I have read certain documents, historical documents in the past, because this issue I have been aware of for a long time. Everybody in Turkey, they kind of know, but they can't admit they know. Mm-hmm. And it's basically what was available in Turkey was very limited. So my knowledge would be this very, very limited knowledge of what occurred.
Right. So just based upon your background, your experience, in your opinion, is the Armenian genocide something that's generally accepted as a historical fact?
In Turkey?
Yeah.
In Turkey, no. I mean, in Turkey, nobody can even say they think about it.
What about elsewhere?
In other countries, like outside Turkey, yes. At least in the circles that I've been, it is seen as something that is accepted and that is known as one of those historical events that have taken place.
Like the Holocaust in World War II. Something that people generally regard as
correct.
Something that happened. Are you aware of anyone, any serious scholars and serious people who dispute that those genocides took place?
Throughout the years, because I used to be on the email list of certain student associations that had international students, so I would get from the Turkish parts of those communities emails from this professor or that professor from Turkey visiting to give that lecture, but I don't even remember their names of those people. Is that a question? Did that answer your question?
Well, I gather from what you're saying that you would get emails possibly from Turkish organizations, Turkish people, where they would dispute that the Armenian genocide took place.
Absolutely.
Okay. Outside of that group, that cultural group, if you will, are you aware of other objective scholars who dispute that the genocide took place?
No, I'm not.
Why is Roy Blunt in your gallery?
Be one of the individuals who was the recipient of both legally and illegally raised donations, campaign donations from foreign entities.
And what foreign entities?
The ones that I'm aware of, Turkish entities. It's just like a network, because those people, they work together, and I don't have expertise in PAC, but there are so many ways that these PAC things can be not very legally distributed from one person's, let's say, Mr. Hester's campaign to that individual, or let's say if it's a foreign registered lobbyist, like Livingston can get foreign money, but then clean it and then give it through him. It's just so many ways. It's a very complicated maze-like network, and how they get this money cleared and into people's pocket and also their campaign. And
are you familiar with some of those PACs?
No, not really.
You ever heard of the Turkish Coalition USA PAC?
No.
So, I mean, you're aware that the PACs exist, but you wouldn't be able to identify any of them?
Correct, not by names. Okay. Correct. Has it come to your attention that some members of Congress, once they've left Congress, like Dennis Hastert, engage in lobbying for the Turkish government? Dennis Hastert is known publicly. Stephen Solars is known publicly. He used to be a congressman, and then he became lobbyist as soon as he left, both for Israel and Turkey. Bob Livingston